Hi, I'm Jane. Welcome to our next instalment of the podcast for Access Courses Online. And today I'm talking to...
Hi, I'm Nicole Johnson, and I've just recently got my certificate for completing my Access to Higher Education in midwifery.
And when did you start uni, Nicole?
I started my midwifery course this September, so a week ago I started at the university. Very full-on week, very happy, exciting, but lots of information.
Yeah, that's so exciting. So we've got you've got a bit of a tight deadline today, so we're going to be snappy and to the point. But I'm going to start off with our why question. So what's a little bit of your story? Why was an access course the right fit for you?
Before, in the past, when I was younger, I applied for midwifery at university and was unsuccessful with getting an interview, never mind getting into university. And obviously, as a child in high school, you only study the general projects, like say lessons, but you don't do midwifery. So as I got older, I tried again. So I had a second attempt at trying to get into university and was unsuccessful again. So then I emailed the universities and they said to me an access course would really help me to get on, give me a better understanding and help me with getting onto a university course, which I then decided after a personal experience of my own, a few years later after that again, that I would apply for an access course. And I did, and it was the best thing I've ever done. And now it was what enabled me to get onto the midwifery course in university.
Yeah. So I know in the conversation that we had prior to this, you do already have a degree, don't you? But your degree's in zoology, and is that right?
It's zoo animal management, but very similar kind of thing. It's studying the same type of topics.
So you said when we had that conversation, you knew that you had a degree in you because you have already done it, but the world and the options available to you since you did zoo management, like it's a different world, isn't it? Is that still
the information back then when I was younger? Because I'm currently 34, I was at the time 18, 19 when I was applying. Even for the zoo animal management course, I wasn't aware of what was available to me. I'd done a national diploma in animal management, and it was friends that actually said to me, am I going to university? It was not really them, and unfortunately back then I just think that it was an expectation that maybe we knew what we should be doing, like, oh, if they want to go to uni, they'll know and they'll apply. But that wasn't the case for me. And I certainly didn't think I had it in me. I didn't know what was required. And I wanted to become something. I was really interested in learning if it was the right topic for me. And I always wanted to be a midwife. Even back then when I applied for the zoo animal management, I applied for midwifery at the same time. But the problem is back then I did think that you had to be, not saying that I'm not clever or that they aren't, I just didn't think I was clever enough to apply for midwifery. And when I didn't get an interview, I just thought, oh, it's because I'm not clever enough, not thinking that maybe I just needed more advice and guidance. And maybe like just the basic foundations put into place, which I could have done, but I just wasn't advised back then. And there was a struggle to, even though I'd gone from a college doing my national diploma, they still didn't give you the basic information, whether that's because they didn't know much themselves or they didn't have much to do with UCAS in universities, like the relationships weren't quite linked together, I'm not sure. But it was through the access course being advertised to me like out there. And back then, as time went on, so like the second time I tried, I did look into the access course because the universities had come back to me to say that's what would help me. But there was a lot of things about, there wasn't enough knowledge of access course. And then there was somewhere they were saying that, oh, people had paid a lot of money for a course and it wasn't enough credits. But as you learn, I spoke to the university, they told me how many credits it was, because then they became aware of these courses that were saying, do this course and you can get in. And of course I did check it all out beforehand, and of course they're all credible now, and you've got a lot of people's opinions online where they've said themselves, like now I've done it, it has been successful. It's not a con, it's real. You can do it, and it is worth it. But you didn't have much of that back then, did you, Sam?
No, and I think when we talked, we agreed that we're not dissimilar ages, but I think your story is going to resonate with so many people into how you just kind of go with the flow because you don't know what you don't know, but it's not really what you wanted to do in your heart of hearts when you've like gone, I just really want to be a midwife, but yeah, you know, sure. Moving on to the how, this is really interesting because you've got kids, haven't you? So
Yeah.
my question is, how have you managed the balance between your family commitments, your day job, and an online access course, and now university? Like, how has that looked for your family?
Well, the access course itself was something, I think you've got to be prepared. You've got to really want to do what you're doing anyway. But if you're prepared to do it, then you can make it work. And that's what's good about the access course, because of the fact it's so flexible. They recorded lectures and lessons. I could either be involved in them, and they were really good timing. Some of them were 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, some of them were 8 o'clock. Now I finish work at 5. My daughter and my son have both got activities that they went to, kickboxing, swimming, this, that and the other. So it was really good to be able to have them recorded, where there was other students that were similar to me, similar age. They also had similar responsibilities as me. But there was also, it was really varied on when they did do them, because they were understanding the fact that, you know, they do need that interaction, and it is really good to communicate with the others. A big part of me getting through the course and being able to do it as well was when I did them online, say hellos at the beginning and get to know people, and then giving you different times that you could go. It enabled me to get to know other people on my course that then, if I couldn't get hold of a lecturer, which was rare, because you send a message, they always get back to you anytime. Just as soon as they were available, they get back to you. They're like anybody out there. If you're busy, you're busy, but they would always get back to you. But it's always nice as well to have somebody that's on the same level as you to go and just send a message to and say, have you do you know which assignment's the next one, or I'm on this assignment, I'm stuck on it, what did you do for this one? And the access course puts all sorts of levels. There was people who just left school, there was people like my age that have got kids that are just growing up and coming out of like primary schools. And then there was people that were a lot older than us as well that have got grandkids now. So there's all sorts of people. And
so nice.
The flexibility was good, the timing was good, the fact that they were understanding the material that they recorded was fantastic. It had everything in there that you needed, that, you know, telling you what the outcomes were, what the expectations were. But then on top of that, you could always get in contact with them and ask them any questions. It was really, really good how they did it. And they started it off. So for myself, I got my honours degree in zoo animal management 10 years ago, just a little bit over. So it's been 10 years since I've written an assignment, Harvard referencing. So you can imagine, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can remember it and if it's changed. But right at the beginning, they set you up with the skills. So they go through like your assignment planning, they go through your Harvard referencing, how to lay out an assignment. And they start you off with smaller assignments. So same kind of word counts, but with really digging deep into one specific area to really stretch out that information, and then use everything that you need for a good structured assignment to then start working you into the harder and bigger assignments that required a lot more. And that was really good how they did that, because they did it kind of without you realising they were doing it. So that you had assignments that weren't credited, but they were just a pass, and you just had to put effort in and give it an attempt. So there was no pressure. They were really good at it. Talking, and part of that assignment was also talking to other people, and you got to speak to other people that weren't just doing your course. They were doing different courses across the board. But again, it was when they booked in for the appointment to do that, it was like a discussion that we had to do at the beginning. It was all to do with the planning, but it made it a bit more fun. It made you engage with others, and it got you used to the way of uni life kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think when we spoke before, we were saying that it's almost all well and good going, right, okay, I'm going to do this around the children's schedule, etc. But actually there are some days where the planets do not align, and you were saying it's so useful to be able to go, do you know what, I'm not taking this in, I'm gonna watch the record of the lecture when they've gone to bed, and things that, you know, opportunities that you might not necessarily have in the normal kind of way of studying it. I feel like it really complements busy lifestyles. When you've got,
I remember many a time putting them to bed, and I'd start off the lesson, and I'd be there. Say it started at 7, and my kids go to bed at 8:30. Well, at the time it was between 8 and 8:30, depending which one I was putting to bed. And sometimes if it went over in particular, or if it started at 7:30 and it was an hour, I'd start off with my face there, and I'd be talking as well. You didn't necessarily need to talk; the lecturer was teaching you. But then they got to a point where they understood, and I'd like turn my camera off and mute myself, so I'd be listening, but then I'd be putting my kids to bed, and then I'd every now and then I'd just pop in and say, I am still listening, just want to let you know I'm just putting the kids to bed. And it was just very understanding, and I was still learning. But again, like you said, it was recorded. So one, I was listening to it then. Loads of people listen to the radio in the car when they're driving. Loads of people do lots of things listening, and it's going in that way. But then I could go back and watch it. I could note take from it. It was really, really good. There was lots of ways for me to absorb that information. In fact, I think it was actually a benefit to listen whilst doing something, to then go back and watch it over, because it's actually doubling up. And the things that sometimes when you're just listening or there, focus, and there's nothing else going on, you still don't take in everything. So the fact that I looked over it a couple of times extra was good. Plus, sometimes I'd do half. So if it was late one night and I'd be doing it and I'd be writing and I'd be getting quite tired, I'd just pause it. I was able to pause there. The next day, I'd just very quickly re-go over it, what I'd watched in the morning earlier on that night, and then watch the rest of it, which again is reiterating me going over it, and you actually pick on more stuff that you might not have realised.
Yeah, I can see so many people, so many Nicoles in the world going, I've got young children, I don't have the mental bandwidth, which is absolutely fine. If you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the bandwidth, but once you know the online courses are available, actually it's really complementary to a busy lifestyle in whatever way you learn. I think that could be really an interesting point of entry for lots of people, which goes nicely into our next question. What would you say to another Nicole out there who not necessarily who's into midwifery or midwifery, what would you say to somebody else, Nicole of a couple of years ago? What advice?
I'd say do it. Don't give up. You can do it. Just try and find the right people to ask the right questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Like I went to the university and I said, what am I missing? Why am I not getting an interview for this? Don't be afraid to ask the question. You have every much a right to be there as anybody else. You've got to believe in yourself, and you've just got to tell yourself that at the end of the day, if you want something if you want it so much, you'll work hard for it. It is hard, but nothing comes easy. It's graft, but when you love something, if you feel like you've got a passion, you should follow your heart. Because one thing I looked at is, for my situation, I did apply for it twice before, so I wasn't giving up really. I was quite persistent. But in the end, I pushed a bit harder and just trusted that it was what I wanted, because I had an episode in my life, personal, that made me question what I was doing with my life. Was I happy with what I was doing? And also, I looked at my kids. My son's going into high school. My daughter's not far behind him. I thought, what type of a role model am I if I don't follow my heart and my passion, what I've always wanted to do? And you know, I love the fact that I'm in uni. I'm excited, I'm nervous, I'm scared, you know, I'm overwhelmed as well. But at the end of the day, I know that I want it so much, and I'm prepared to work for it. And You know, there are opportunities out there, and you never know. You might go for midwifery, or you could go for nursing or law or anything like that at all. And you might find through that path that you end up on a completely different path. But follow your heart. There's a reason. I think there's a reason that you have these desires, you know, to do something like that. And if you've got, what's the word that I'm trying to think of? You've got to have a passion for it in the first place and be enthusiastic, and that drive in you. And if it could be that you don't know, but you just want something more, like, go out there, look about. Online's brilliant. Yes, always check your sources, always double check, have a look at reviews. Yes, reviews tend to be based on bad, but there's a lot of good reviews out there as well. And if there's loads and loads and loads of bad reviews, then it's not good then, is it? But there will always be good reviews about stuff that it has got a good backing. There'll be the odd few maybe that haven't had the best experience, but you have to look at it as an overall. And I've loved every minute of the Access course. I don't regret it at all. It's the best thing, well, one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And if nothing else, if I wasn't going to uni, it's made me feel younger in myself. It's made me find a joy in life instead of getting up every day, going to work, doing the same thing day in, day out, knowing that it's a job and it pays and it's a good job. But it's just not what I want to do every day in my life. I'm wasted in a way, and this is what I want to do. So for them, just do it. Just give it a go. Access courses are really flexible as well, so you can keep your job, and if it's not for you, you know, but just give it a go. Just give it a try. For myself, I had to save up money and I had to pay for it myself, but there are lots of benefits out there if you look about, where they'll give you a grant for it, or they might give you an offer on it, or, you know, there's some universities that I know that give you them, if you successfully pass it and then go to university, they'll give you the money back from the grant. So there's lots of schemes out there. I don't know a lot about that, but there are lots of schemes out there to help financially. And with uni, by the way, financial side of it, which I didn't mention, was through the Access course. At the beginning, I didn't know I was going to go straight to uni once I'd got my certificate and passed. I didn't know if I was going to pass, for one, but they had the faith in me. And one thing that they did reassure me with was the financial side. They gave me so much information. I'm a single mom with 2 kids, and I thought to myself, there's no way I can afford to come out of work and then go to uni full time. But there are other options. There are loans, there are possible grants you could get. There are jobs that you can get in between as well, like part-time jobs, in particular with midwifery. You can do bank nursing and things like that. There are options out there. And yeah, there is the option that the ideal is you want to save and not work if you can, so you can focus completely on what you're doing. But if you're doing a job in the role that you're going to go into, then it's experience anyway, isn't it? Yeah. And you're going to get paid for that. Because unfortunately with the universities, you just don't get paid for doing the job a lot of the time as you train. But that's how
I honestly think that you are just so inspiring. And I thought the same when we had a talk beforehand. I feel like I say this almost on every podcast. I just know so many Nicoles, and I have been a Nicole, and do you know what I mean? Just you can't be what you can't see. So hearing your story and how it's such a joyful fit for you is so inspiring. And I think we said on the phone, I want to do like a year's check-in, and I've said it to other people as well, because I just have to. Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, I want to see the next instalment. But I know you've got to shoot off now, so I'm gonna love you and leave you. But thank you so much for your time today. I'm really appreciating it. I love your story. So go have a great time at uni.
Thank you for inviting me.
Go deliver some babies.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. But thank you very much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
No worries. It's been an absolute pleasure. Take care. Bye.
See you later.